Hey guys, it's Jordan here from SwitchWatch. How are you all doing today? Today's review is of Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon on the Switch. Let's see how this one has turned out. The Chocobo series is a long-running line of spin-off games that have rarely seen the light of day over in the West. Considered to be somewhat niche in its own country, think about how well a dungeon crawler starring a giant chicken would fare over here. Saying that it did breathe Western air back in the Wii era with Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo's Dungeon. Now that's been remade on the Nintendo Switch with a title closer to its Japanese name, Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon Everybody. Before we get into it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to get all our Nintendo Switch related content. Reviews, gameplays, and features. It's well worth it for any Switch owner. Let's get on with it. The story for Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon is simple but rather bizarre. After Chocobo and his human friend Sid explore a mystery tower in the desert, they are whisked away to the magical town of Lost Time. A town where everyone's memories are constantly being soaked away at the ring of the bell. Oddly enough, an egg comes crashing down from space containing a baby who can delve into people's memories to help bring them back, although not without the help of Chocobo. The baby and Chocobo jump into people's memories to bring the town back to normal, but that's not all. The town is in danger as the 4 oracles that protect the elements of the town are also in danger and need to be restored. It wouldn't be Final Fantasy without magical crystals. The story is really rather weird. It's often overly cutesy, which gives it more of appeal to a younger audience, and I think older gamers may not enjoy the vibe that it gives off. I liked it enough, although it's not its strongest aspect. One of my favourite games of all time is a fairly obscure title called As Your Dreams from Konami. It plays very similarly to Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon in many respects, which instantly puts this title in my good books. As a roguelike dungeon crawler, this plays out in a turn-based fashion. Movement is kept to a grid, and the second you make a move, the enemy will do so straight after. Maybe the more popular examples of this are the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games. It may seem archaic compared to real-time full movement games, but don't be fooled. This type of game offers a far more tactical and tense feeling. Each action takes up a move. Attacking, using an item, moving, using an ability, they all sacrifice a turn, and so you have to choose each action very wisely. Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon has all the hallmarks of the Mystery Dungeon staples. Dungeon floors are randomly generated each time but are formed with the same basic pieces. You map the floors as you go along in order to find the stairs to the next level. Don't let the cute looking style fool you into thinking you're getting a game for babies. This one still retains the hardcore mechanics the series is known for. You only have so much bag space, which limits the amount of items you can pick up. You can upgrade the bag steadily over time, but even then, it's very restrictive. Deciding what you want to pick up or throw away is key to survival. Picking up a potion instead of the food resources may prove fatal in the long term. It's all about choice, it's all about luck. Items are sporadic and random. You'll be praying to Lady Luck for what you need at that moment. You have hunger levels, which drops with actions that you take, so you need to keep your belly full with the staple greens that Chocobos are known for. One of the big things about Mystery Dungeon games is that if you die, you lose everything you possess, items and money. This release includes 2 modes. There's a more accessible one where if you die, you lose everything aside from the weapon, armor, and accessory you have equipped at that time. Then there's the classic mode where you lose absolutely everything. I don't think either are pretty forgiving, but I like this mechanic even though it can be soul destroying if you lose your highly upgraded equipment. I think due to the somewhat unambitious items here, it's far less gutting than other games of the genre where you can lose some properly precious stuff, but it's still a road bump here. There are multiple dungeons in this one, a few major ones and a good handful of smaller, more idiosyncratic ones. The major ones involve the elemental crystals while the smaller ones involve the memories of the villagers. I think I actually prefer the restrictive nature of the side dungeons than the major ones because they offer fun extra challenges like not being able to recover HP or the dungeon is covered in darkness and you constantly have blind status. I just like the curveball nature to these ones. It's worth going through all of the dungeons because you can get some tasty rewards, the biggest being jobs. At the beginning of a dungeon, Chocobo can choose which job he wants to take. Whether it be a knight, white mage, black mage, this game has a lot of choice. Job systems are always welcome in my opinion, and I do like it's here, but it doesn't feel quite as fully developed as it could have been. Some jobs don't really add a whole lot and you can pretty much get by with any of them. One of the biggest things about this re-release is the everybody subtitle. As you've no doubt seen, you have the ability to walk around dungeons with a partner, whether it be a human character or a monster. These are controlled by the AI or a second player, and they will help you with attacks and their unique special ability. The only thing you control is when they use their ability by holding L and pressing the plus button. In this release, you can get every normal monster in the game to help you. If you kill them enough times and pick up the buddy points that they drop, eventually they will be able to be selected. Like the job selection, however, you can only do this at the start of a dungeon. I think it offers a great tactical nuance to this game, using monsters' elemental alignments and abilities to your advantage, and the fact that they all level at the side of you means that you can experiment without having to grind levels for any of them. In the fire dungeon, you'll probably want to take something with water properties, or at least something that fire won't harm so much. It's not all dungeons though. There is a town of Lost Time which is quaint in its nature but appreciated to give a bit of contrast to the hardcore dungeon crawling. Here you can buy items, cure your curses, upgrade weapons, do a spot of fishing and talk to townsfolk and help them out with their problems. There's also a bank of sorts in which you can plonk items and cash into to protect you from losing them. If you die in a dungeon, these will be spared and can be taken out again. Very useful to store an extra equipment set and some important items like the wings that will allow you to escape. I think the town is a little underdeveloped, at least in terms of what I would like to see. I'd have liked some more upgrades and town building going on, or more depth to the townsfolk and shops. Like I said, it's a nice contrast and I'm happy it's here, but I think it could have been just a little bit more. The gameplay overall though, I really enjoy it. It's not my top game of the genre, that would be As Your Dreams, but it's close, and despite the sometimes shallow aspects, it still offers a great, tense tactical experience. It's hardcore gameplay with a cutesy overcoat. It can be tough and disheartening, but due to the structure of this one in terms of keeping your level no matter what, you can get through it. There's also a really good tutorial right at the beginning that eases you into the basics very well, and you're always given advice by the superhero Moogle as to some of the more advanced techniques. The music really took me by surprise here. Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon soundtrack is a who's who of classic Final Fantasy songs. Loads of iconic tunes from the series have been updated and remixed into this spin-off entry, and time again it brought joy to my ears. Very early in the game you end up on the base farm, and hearing Final Fantasy VII's Farm Boy start playing was like a punch in the face. Well, I mean like a good kind of punch in the face. Some of the tracks have been more updated than others, but they are all downright classics, and half of the fun is naming all of them if you're as big a fan as Nobuo Uematsu as I am. A few of them can be well hidden in a new remix. It's almost too good. As much as I love all the songs played here, it can be rather distracting because the tunes are so iconic. You know they are not from this game, and it's often as though they've handpicked the best tracks and tried to slot them in wherever they could, so it has an unnatural feeling to it. It's a minor complaint because it is so good, but it's just a side effect of compiling the best songs from a legendary series and composer.
When you need him, he's there. Whistling it. He's there. With eyes gently sparkling.
There is voice work here in Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon, and it's a little cheesy but well done. I did notice that at times the music often overpowered the voice work in some cutscenes. Yes, you can adjust the sound levels in the menus, but you want the default settings during gameplay, so you don't know when to adjust them for cutscenes. It's a minor problem, of course, but it does take that bit of sheen off of game with such a publisher behind it and franchise reputation. Visually, the game hasn't had a major upgrade as far as I can tell or remember from when I originally played it. It looks sharp and crisp, although models and textures lack the detail and do show off that it's from a couple of generations ago. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I wouldn't expect too much of an improvement in this release. It does the job decently enough, but clearly from another time. If this was a new game made today, you'd probably be disappointed with the visuals, but as a simple enough title, high fidelity graphics are hardly needed. It obviously shows up a lot better in handheld mode, where the bright colours pop nicely off the screen, and the simple modelled environments don't stick out too much. What I did find downright poor were the FMV cutscenes. They have not held up well whatsoever in the transition to HD, but thankfully they are minimal in their appearance. On the eShop, Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon is priced at £32.99 in the UK. It's priced below those AAA releases, which is nice to see. It could have been easy for Square to slap a £40 or £50 price tag on this, but they chose the right option. It's a mid-tier release, and I think it's priced accordingly, especially for the time that you'll get out of it and the fun you'll have. Some of you may want to wait for a sale, and I would understand that considering we've had Capcom's Okami and Onimusha for about half the price. It could have been priced more competitively. Regarding the physical release, I believe there's no physical release in the West, but feel free to prove me wrong. The Japanese release does have English on board, so you can easily import a copy for yourself from your favorite import retailer. If you want to buy it and support the SwitchWatch team at the same time, then consider buying from Play Asia via the link that I'll put in the description and pinned comment below. It's an affiliate link, so we'll take a very small cut, but at no extra cost to you guys. Before we get into my final thoughts, if you've enjoyed this review so far and found it useful, then consider subscribing if you're new here. We offer honest reviews and features for all your Nintendo Switch needs. Also, leave a like and comment telling us your thoughts about Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon. Overall, back on the Wii, this was always a charming little gem. It's been revived on the Nintendo Switch and it seems even better than ever. Maybe I am biased because I do love a good Mystery Dungeon game, but it's not easy to get the right balance for me. But I think Chocobo succeeds very well. Some mechanics may not be as fleshed out or as triumphant as originally planned, and the job system doesn't seem wholly balanced. But saying that the core gameplay of the dungeon crawling is just as fantastic as it always was. It offers tense, compelling and tactical gameplay, but this time you could play with a friend. It may be cutesy, but it's not for the faint of heart. It's charming and will suck you in. It was a gem on the Wii, but it's still a gem on the Switch. An 8 out of 10 from me. Now may I suggest you head over to another Final Fantasy themed review in Final Fantasy IX. That was the start of the incoming Switch avalanche, so that's a good place to start if you want to immerse yourself in the Final Fantasy world. Or you could check out some of our other more recent reviews. I'll see you guys over there. Take care.